M0JCF in the Cray Valley group. Okay, listen, chaps, I'm using at the moment a semi-repaired FT-2900R. It's definitely got received problems at the moment. I should have turned it on a lot sooner. It's got the usual FT-2900R problems, and this is one of the problems I haven't sorted out yet, which I'll have to do at some point. So I can hear everyone. I can hear you, Dave. I can hear Dave, Beardy Dave, and I can hear Frank on it. I can't give you reports because the meter's at full peg. As I say, until it settles down, I've got sort of a little bit of a difficult receive, and you may, as you pointed out, may not be hearing me fantastically well. So I'll end it round to Dave M7IPY from M0JCF in the group.
M0JCF, Mike 7 India, Papa Yankee returning. Yep, it's working. Mark, yes, it's for Mark JCF. Slight overmod, slightly excitable, shall we say, audio, but nothing outrageous, not as bad as like a couple of weeks ago when it was ragged. It was a bit sort of Neil Young levels of guitar distortion. But yes, slightly clipping, I would say. But other than that, a nice full tonality. I'll pass this round quickly to our Frank G0 FPV and his lovely meter. Yeah, on sound now, not the heater in the one with me. It's a bit Trinidad, but nice to hear you this morning. I'm glad that you like that race mountain snapshot from out the stick. Back to you, hey, NRA. The GHTHD. GHTHD, do you want to make over before you go back to me? Good morning, Dave. Good morning, mate. Good morning, train. I'm sorry I'm going to need to put it on. Good morning, M7IPY. I didn't quite catch that one. You're quick before. On the initial one, I was still trying to set up. 5 and 9 for you, Mark. 5 and 9 close, in fact, a nice strong signal. Everything is it RPY, 5 and 8, touching 5 and 9 in places, or 5 and 9 plus 20 for you, Frank. Big strong signal. David or H, I'm sorry, I haven't got a report for you yet, but with that initial bit of information, I can pass the microphone back to you. So G6 or H, GHB in the group. GHB, G6 NRH. Yeah, fair comment, mate, and yeah, I'm always on the list. But you're 5 and 9 to me, lovely signal as usual, always the same dulcet tones, and so I love it, it's really nice. Yeah, it's everybody's all coming over 5 and 9, but there's no problem there. Despite over deviating very slightly, the effect is quite punchy. Mark, and I mean, it'd be great, I'm in the pilot, but yeah, other than that, it's still fantastic, mate. So, yeah, keep up the good work. Hopefully, well, I don't know how you got on with doing the competition yesterday. Unfortunately, I was shooting, and, well, not unfortunately, but I went shooting, which is my want, because now I've got to pick up Bob and then take it to the shooting and bring it back, and it's largely coming back to my place, sort it all out, and then it gives me time consuming, so the time I get back, it was about 6 o'clock, so it's a long old day for some years. But yeah, it's nice to hear you all. You're all, as I say, cracking signals. What else? Radio-wise, haven't really done a lot of radio this week. Been mainly playing about with a mini disc system, trying to get it working, which has turned out to be a bit of a nightmare, but I'll persevere with that and see how it goes. I ordered the wrong size ribbon cable because, like, being an idiot, not knowing what, I thought, oh, it all goes on the pin size, but it's not. It's a whip size as well. I don't know. I'm not an electronics expert, so I've got to order another
on another set of things and see how it goes. But first of all, I've got to see if I can get the thing actually working properly. It's got these motorised lids that holds up, it goes where the CD compartment is, and that was stopping and starting and doing all weird and wonderful things, and kept recycling all the time. And I think what it was, I mucked up the sensor, so it kept on sending it on off, which made the thing go up and down all the time. Anyway, I'm waffling on as usual, which is my want. I'll pass it over to you, Mark, and you see you're doing a grand job, mate. M0 JCF.
Yeah, G6NRH M0JCF. Okay, I think I'm going to abandon this radio for the moment. I am receiving you on an FT-65 handheld, but because it's on a rubber duck, I may not get out to everyone. I'm certainly receiving everyone on it. This FT-2900R is putting out just under 3 watts, but definitely now in the audio stage, I think we've got capacitor problems, which is causing me, you all sound like Daleks to me, and I think because of the leaky transistor, the FM is sounding rough. Don't think it's over deviating. I think it's just sounding rough because of the various other problems. It's a radio that I'm going to have to come back to. I was using it yesterday with Dav. Dav was using his KV4P device on his Android, 1 watt, and that stubby little antenna. You know, Dav, as the crow flies, is about half a mile from me, maybe a bit less, and really receiving him well. Some of you may have seen the video on YouTube. So we did a test of the 290R, which was actually sort of behaving itself yesterday, and we was obviously tested that that little device as well. So it worked both ways. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go and hunt out an adapter for the FT-65. I need an SMA to either BNC or PL259 adapter. So I'm going to get on with that while you all chat, and then I'll let you know what else I've been going on with my FRG 7700 purchase, which was a very nice little tickle. I'll tell you about it later. Round to you, Dave. IPY M0 JCF.
M0 JCF, Mike 7 India Papa Yankee. Out of interest, your audio has improved the longer the radio's been on. You're now back to normal mark levels of deviation now. So yeah, no problem at all now. It was just rough edges when you first started, noticeable, and now it seems to settle down. So I think the theory of that is the longer it's on, the warmer it gets and the better it gets. So all good there. We've had a good radio week actually. Julie and myself, Julie's got involved in an art group, and they set projects that eventually they set themselves projects, like a group project. So like one word will spur a project, and they all do, being artists, they all take their own interpretation of this word or this sentence or you know, another picture or something sets them off. And Julie's just joined this group, and the word this year that they're going to use to display their work is the word code. So obviously, probably being a newly qualified ham, Julie knows about Morse, even though I don't operate Morse, unlike our Kieran. Good morning, Kieran. You're 5'9", by the way, into Dartford. Julie picked up on the word Morse code, and then looked up the word code, focusing on the word code. Morse is too easy, it's too obvious, isn't it, really? So she's gone into looking at the meaning of the word code, which is partly obscuring a meaning. And it took us on a road trip to Bletchley Park, which I'll tell you all about on the next over, which was really, really good. Frank, thank you again very much for the offer of the mobile kit. The mag mount and the mask, yeah, both of those will come in very, very handy. Although I have got a mask that I made up, it would be good to have the real proper Hustler one and compare that, see how close I got that's worked. And as I mentioned, as we were walking in on Thursday, it's actually resonant on 50 meg, 6 meter band, and it's amazingly wide bandwidth. Is that because the copper pipe is 15 millimeters wide? Does that have a bearing on it? I don't know. The diameter of the pipe, I guess it does actually. The bandwidth, yeah. I'm going to pass this now round to my benefactor, our friend G0FDP from Mike 7 India Papa Yankee.
Yep, okay there, Dave. M790Y from G0FDP. Yep, okay. Well, the mag mount is slightly different yours because the coax on the mag mount that I showed you, the mag mount, the coax comes out at the top, just below where you screw the actual pole in. So whether that's different setting to what you've got on your one, where you need just to alter the coax to a different size. This one has got RG8 to 1. I'm not quite sure the size now, but it's not the very thin stuff. It's the thinner stuff, but not the very thin stuff. And it's got a fair length on it with a 259 socket on the end of it. And it is, as I measured it up the other day, the length of the Hustler pole is 55 inches, or in centimetres, millimetres, whatever you like call it, 1 metre 4. That's what the length of it is. That's exactly from one end to the other end. It's got the adapters on it for the mag mount, and also the one that you need to screw the actual Hustler into. Because mag mount has got a connection which you can actually put a 259 socket in. It's durable. It's double, but it's double. Just put it double that way. You can, if you unscrew both of them, you can actually use it with a PL259 rather than actually using the Hustler pole itself. So that's what that one is, and you'll see it when you get it. I'll bring it round to the club next Thursday. It's not this Thursday, it's next Thursday, isn't it? And you can have a look at it. And I think maybe the pole for the Hustler pole is not quite as big as the pipe that you've used, but it's there. It's all covered in white, so it's not quite as thick, but presumably it's strong enough to actually take both Hustlers on, the 80 or the 60 on, 80 or the 40 on, so it should be okay in that respect. And hopefully, as you say, once the pole is up, you can get 6 meters on it, and it should work okay with that. Maybe the tuning of it may be different slightly with the Hustler pole itself to the actual pole that you've actually made up. I don't know. We'll have to check it out, make sure. It may be slightly out. I'm not certain about that. But anyway, you'll sort that out when you get to it. Get it. Right. What else are we going to add now? Can't think of anything else at the moment. I'll come round to it next time. See what I think of something else. Right, Kieran. I was talking to 4meternet on Friday, telling them just as I got in about 9 o'clock. I got in Friday evening, and telling them on the 4meternet that there is now, as you know, Kieran, there is a Meals on the Wheels weekend in May, and unfortunately, if you'd have stopped a little longer, I would have given you them 2 DVDs that I've got, but I'll give them to you next Thursday. I've got 2 actually. There's one for 2009 and 2010, something like that. I think it is. And you'll see on there what the difference is. But some of the lads that was on it there then are probably not doing it now. So I'm not quite sure whether Slim is on there. But we won't have Slim on there anymore because Slim's not with us anymore, is he? But there we are. When you actually called in to pick us up next Thursday, I'll bring them down for you. Well, make sure, ask me, have I got them? Because sometimes my brain might say, oh dear, I've forgotten bloody things. But what I'll do, bring them down, I shall put them down here by the bottom of the stairs, so I'll have to make sure I pick them up so I don't have to tread on them. I'll do it that way. And also for your stuff as well, Dave, I'll put yours down here, and also I don't forget that either. So that's I'll get that ready for you as well. Okay, right now, I think it's Kieran that came in after me, wasn't it? If I remember rightly, I put me in that start. Yep. Kieran, you came in after me, so I'll put it round to you. G8 CHB, G0FTP. Over to you, Kieran.
G0FTP, G8CHB returning. Thank you very much, Frank, for that. Make sure you leave it at the bottom of the stairs because I'm not sending you back upstairs again to get the CD, okay? And I'll see you Thursday week. That's lovely. Thank you. That made me smile. It's a long way up those stairs, yeah. Right. Firstly, I'd like to apologise to you, David. M7IPY. I've got it now. M7IPY. I've got the call sign right, so that's fine. And as I say, you're a 5 and 8, 5 and 9, very, very clean signal, no problem at all. Probably just a tiny bit underneath the 5 and 9 in my meter here. Right. Radio. Well, I think Trevor's phrase for what I've been doing is domestic engineering, and that includes things like shopping, cleaning, household effects, and things like that. I haven't really had as much time as I thought I'd have to do any radio, so I haven't done very much. But I did find Thursday's meeting very, very interesting indeed, with all the ideas put out for next year, and it seems to be very exciting and packed with things that I'd like to do and like to be involved in, and probably won't have the time to do half of them. I mean, as it is a present from last year, I've still got one of the building projects to finish. I did the rooster from last year, but I didn't get the coder, the Morse the Morse code key. I didn't get that finished. That's still sitting there as a packet ready to be done. And I'm quite interested in the kits that are coming up this year, and I'm interested to hear that Mark was talking about that KV. I think it was KV4P, the one you attach onto the back of your Android phone, and it becomes a 2-meter rig. I thought that'd be a great bit of fun just for the hell of it, you know. And indeed the tiny little tuner sounds a nice job to do, but I'm no great constructor. I mean, one of my first biggest jobs was I built a QCX for 80 meters. That's the little I think it's a 4-watt jobby, and that was quite complicated. And as I say, I was very much a beginner, so I was getting through a soldering tip about every 3 days. I've got a decent soldering iron now, so I'm probably a little bit better than that. But I was so pleased with it that I bought another QCX for 20 meters, which is still again in its box, ready to be built, and I'm definitely going to do that first because it's a lovely little CW transceiver, and it's worth doing. But as I say, it's been sitting there. The thing with the 80-meter one, I'm rambling now. The thing with the 80-meter one is that the coils were a pain to wind because there's so many turns in them, and those little toroids were so small. So I'm quite looking forward to the 20-meter one because I won't have nearly as many turns on the little toroid. So I will get on, and I will do that. That's definitely going to happen, and I'll be interested to do a build of at least one of the ones that come out this year. As I say, there's a load of stuff came up next on Thursday of things that might happen. There should be a bit more coding, and that'd be quite interesting. I think I'd like to learn a bit about Python. I've been working on the Arduino stuff. That's been quite fun as well. As I say, lots of things to do, and then sort of not enough time to do them. It's always the cry, isn't it? You know, no time. And sometimes that's just an excuse, because sometimes I just feel like sitting down reading a book, not actually doing anything. Right, I've been rabbiting on much too much, so I'm going to pass it back to you, Dave. G6NRH and G8CHB in the group.
G8CHB, G6NRH. Yeah, all copied there, Kieran. Yeah, I wish I'd gone to the meeting, but I didn't. I could lie and say I was helping or doing domestic engineering, but I was watching football, unfortunately. It was a rubbishy game, but with a good result at the end of it. But anyway, I won't delve too much into that. Yeah, I'm I'll do is before I pass it on to you, Mark. I'm just going to give a quick general call. If anybody else wants to join us in the Cray Valley 2-metre Sunday morning net. This is Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. Just checking for any calls that want to join us for the 2-metre net. This is open to all amateurs. Don't just have to be a Cray Valley member. This is Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. Standing by for any calls. M0SHG. Good morning, Tony. You are now, I think, 5th on the list. Do you want to have a quick oval? Do you want to wait until we go through the next round?
No, I'll wait. I'll sit on the side and listen to what's going on. I've only just joined.
All right, Tony. With that, quickly pass it over to you, Mark. M0JCF G6NRH.
Right, a G6NRH. Just a quick audio check before I wrap it on, Dave. Back to you.
No, mate. It sounds all right. It's no different, to be perfectly honest. I mean, because we're so close anyway. Most of the wet bit of string would have done. But, no. It's all right, mate. Why? Back to you. G0 Foxtrot Delta. What am I doing? M0 Golf Juliet Charlie Hotel Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. I'm all with fingers and thumbs this morning. Anyway, over to you, Mark.
Yeah, it is M0JCF, but we'll forgive you, Dave, because you're older than me. Okay, so recap. Okay, so I'm still using the FT-2900R, running just under 3 watts, according to my external RX200 meter, into the collinear. The story of this FT-2900R was it was in pretty poor state. I've got 3 of them, actually 2.5 now, because one of them's in bits. But this one, I got some time ago. I can't remember what the full story now. I'd have to sort of rack my brains, and I don't want to bore you. But effectively, this one had a dodgy display. The display was bleeding, but you know the radio sort of worked. I did try to use it on a net some time ago. But anyway, I had 3 FT-2900Rs. One of them was really unrepairable, so it became a donor part. Or a donor 4 parts. But anyway, it's a horrible pig of a job, but I managed to replace the display and the bulbs in the display, so it all lights up, it all works. I think in the audio stage, the capacitors, electrolytic capacitors in this one will need replacing. I think what happens is when it's been left on for a while, they start to reform and or reform, not reform, reform, and but they, you know, it's not an ideal situation. They will eventually fail. I mean, these capacitors are well over 40 years old in these old radios. The meter, the receive meter, is pegged full scale deflection. We know what the problem is there. I've just got to solder a resistor in between the collector and the emitter of Q104 or something like that. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. Maybe I should have done it when I had it all apart, but you know, I like to do one thing at a time. I've done that before where I've repaired every single fault in the world. Anyway, and I've caused more faults. Anyway, getting down to FT-2900R number 3, I keep my ear to the ground, and whenever I see a bargain, which, you know, some people say if it's a bargain and it's too good to be true, it probably isn't. Well, it doesn't always work like that if you're quite discerning. Now, this chap down on the south coast, he put up on a Facebook group, you know, I've got an FT-2900R, it doesn't work, would anyone like it? You know, free of charge, come and collect it. And I said, you know, if no one else wants it, of course I'll be very interested. Can't remember his call sign, but his name is Ian, and he's down at Lydd, near Lydd Aerodrome. So anyway, so you know, the other day I thought I'll go down to Lydd, then cut across country to my mum who lives in Garlinge near Margate. The little faux pas there, and it will make you laugh, is I thought Lyd, and I've raced motorbikes at Lyd back in the 80s, and I'm thinking to myself, oh yeah, Lyd, that's not too far from me mum. Of course, I meant Manston, which isn't too far from my mum. So anyway, he was 50 miles away. But you know, the story is, I went down there, and he basically said I could have it for nothing, and it looked in very, very good condition. The microphone was brand spanking new, a Technofix, a small form factor Technofix microphone. So you know, he didn't want anything of it, but I made a donation to the air ambulance, especially as I think he said his son had used them last year. So I made a donation, and you know, so I got a bargain, and as always happens, and this is where you know, it's sometimes with these bargains, if they're too good to be true, they normally aren't. Then, you know, as always happens with me, I go down there for these bargains. I picked up, well, he said, you know, on the shelf here, I've got my late father's ham radio equipment. He had loads of it, and he said, I've got this FRG 7700. He said, are you interested? I said, well, I'm interested, but, you know, the 7000 series have got known problems. I said, yeah, I'm buying it blind. You know, we didn't want to go through, you know, like firing it all up and messing about. But he said, you know, well, look, you know, he said, make me a quick offer. So me being a mercenary, I said, yeah, I'll tell you what, just taking it away, unpowered, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'll give you 50 quid. And he said, yeah, that'll be great. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, take it away. He said, and if it all works when you switch it on, he said, ping me over the 50 quid. You know, you can't say fairer than that. So I took this lovely receiver. It's absolutely perfect, it is. And then he also said to me, well, I won't be needing these either if you want them. And it's the FRV transverter or converter. It's not a transverter, it's a converter, which turns your FRG 7700 into a VHF. It does, it's model B, so it does airband 6 meters and 2 meters. So it turns your receiver into a 2 meter, 6 meter and airband all mode receiver. And also the FRT 7700, which is the matching tuner. So I asked, you know, do you want anything for these? And he said no. And I'm, well, okay then, you know, I'm a mercenary, mate. You know, I'm a buyer, and so I'll have them. You know, some people might say, well, actually, now you know it works, maybe you should have sent him more, but it's not how I operate, because I'm nasty like that. But anyway, so that was that. Not really done a lot of HF. Talked to a bloke in Tampa, Florida on 10 meters a few days ago. A few others around the USA, a few Russians, Ukrainians, a little bit of sporadic was coming in. I've also, I don't know if any of you follow the space weather woman, Tamitha Scove. She does like a video blog of space weather and what's happening on the sun, and she was saying this week that definitely the active regions are dropping off. And so it looks like cycle 25 is coming over the peak now, and is about to start its decline, which it was predicted to do in 2025. I don't think I've got anything else to add. I'm looking around the garage here to see if anything else is catches my eye that I can tell you a story about. But I have, that was it. Yes, yesterday, of course, I operated this radio with Dav, and Dav was using his KV4P adapter on his Android phone, running just under 1 watt into that tiny little stubby antenna, and I was getting him 5 and 9. Likewise, he was getting me 5 and 9, and with a little bit of testing, we discovered one thing inherent with these types of designs, and that's the delay on audio and the push to talk. So of course, you know, you're going into a mobile phone, there's some digital, so analog to digital conversion, and then back through the radio, the RF section, we're going back from digital to analog again. So there's a little bit of processing, etc., going on. And of course, when he finishes his sentence and unkeys, the radio or the phone, the radio is still processing. So I was missing the last letter of his call sign, which makes it tens to maybe hundreds of milliseconds delay. So it's something he's going to send back to the developer, because obviously it's open source, and you know, there'll be 101 people working on it, and see if we can reduce that delay. I myself am looking forward to getting one of those kits for 24 quid and building one and shoving it in my Android phone, just for the fun factor. So around to you, Dave. M7IPY M0JCF in the Cray Valley group.
M7IPY returning to M0JCF and the group with the professional polls. I think the word we're looking for when there's a small time lag between the analog and digital processing is latency. I think that's the word, isn't it? I know it exists in music and computing, so I'm guessing that applies here. So I'll just push my nerdy glasses up to the bridge of my nose and blink awkwardly. But I think the word is called latency, isn't it there? Getting back round to your FT-2900R. I'm sitting in front of a laptop here, and I've just pulled up a picture of it. I've got a newbie question. I don't know these rigs whatsoever. At the time that this came out, 1981, I was deeply involved in CB radio and knew very little about ham radio. But on the mode selector switch, you've got lower sideband, upper sideband, continuous wave, yeah, CW, Morse, and then FM. There's 3 different modes of FM. You've got FM minus, FM plus, and something in the middle I can't quite make out on the picture that I've got here. I can't zoom in on it. Maybe you could explain next time what that is, Mark. But it's a neat looking little rig, isn't it? And amazing efficiency. 60 milliamp on receive, and flat out with its mighty, was it 2 watts, 3 watts, 800 milliamp current draw. I mean, that's pretty efficient current consumption for that time, wasn't it? Awesome, yeah. Jumping now to Kieran. I'll sympathise with you about winding coils. I often do see ZPS's true SDX build, and there's 5 or 6 coils that need winding there very, very accurately. Now, I like it because I'm a wally, and I like that kind of thing. And I took ages winding the coils to perfection, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I'd imagine after a while, yeah, it does get a bit boring, I'd imagine. But yeah, so I'll sympathise with you there, Kieran, and having to wind coils and make stuff. Jumping back to our Frank, yes please, again, thank you very much for thinking of me with that mobile kit. I will happily take that off your hands if you don't want it. If you're not going to use it anymore, I will certainly put that to good use. It certainly sounds like your Magman is a lot better quality than the one that I've got. The coax on it is appalling. The weave of the I only found this out when I cut the PL-259 off, because I had to refit it, because where I've used it so much, it's been in and out of the car. Whenever we go away on holiday, I usually take the radio, but where I've been using it so much, particularly recently, every week it seems I'm out working mobile, 1 or 2 days a week now. The PL-259 was looking a bit worse for wear, so I cut the coax back, and I thought, oh, you know, I've missed a few strands. No, there's about 8, 12 strands of horrible-looking cheap wire, and that's called the braid. It is awful quality, hence the reason on the WhatsApp group, me asking about fitting a coaxial choke, so that the coax doesn't form part of the antenna. That's my understanding. It's only a feeder, and fitting better quality coax and this and the other. But everyone in the group came back to me, which is really, really handy. I really appreciate that sort of like information and advice you get when you just post a question. Superb. So yeah, so it looks like Frank's Magman is way better quality than I've got, and I look forward to using it, Frank. And I'll post a picture of it when it's in use at the seaside. Hopefully I'm going to be getting out next week. If the weather's not too crazy, I might take a trip down the seaside again and see what I can do, particularly as Mark was saying, that 10 metres is coming to, or it's going to start closing off now. Need to make the most brought up at the bottom of the garden. What else have I got written down here? I think we covered it all. Oh, good morning, Tony, M0SHG. I know he's just joined. I'm going to pass this round now to our Frank, G0FDP from M7 Ibby.
Yep, okay there, Dave. M7IPY, G0FDP returning. Right, yeah, this mag mount actually got a rubber base on the back bottom of it, but it's half coming off now. I think it's only there that when you put it on the top of a vehicle, you don't touch the paintwork. That's the main thing about it. I did have a look at it, and I don't know whether you can actually take the bottom off, but you don't need to take the bottom off to get to the coax, because the coax doesn't come out at the bottom or around the side of the actual mag mount. It comes out right underneath where you actually screw the hustler pole onto, so it should be okay. And it's got, I think it's RG, I'm not quite sure the number at the moment, I'll have to go and look, it's upstairs. And it's already got a PL259 plug on it, so I'm not quite sure exactly how good the outer casing for it is. I presume it's Cisbrock. I have actually used it, as I said, I've used it when I was down at Swanage on occasion, with the picture you've got of it, working from there back to London on the 80-metre net with Bob when he was running that on evenings during the time when we had the 80-metre net. I was way down at Swanage, so I used it when I was down there. So that's what I was doing with that one. Don't need it anymore because I haven't got a car anymore, Dave. The only thing I've got on wheels now is a scooter. It's just, I don't think I can put an aerial on a scooter. Well, I probably could put an aerial on a scooter, but I ain't got nowhere to sit a radio, only in my pocket. Well, yeah, sounds like one of these new pocket radios would be quite an handy thing. Mind you, I don't know whether my ICO2E would be okay. It's a bit large, it's a bit like a brick in them days, because when I first got that one, it was back in the 80s, something like 82, 83, 84, something like that, and it's quite heavy. And you can put all sorts of antennas on it, rubber duck, half wave, quarter. I've got a connection on here, which is actual fact, if it's pushed right down, I think it's I'm not quite sure whether it's a quarter wave. It's not a half wave. It might be a quarter wave. Not certain. But when I put it up extension to the full height, it's a half wave, and it's got base loaded as well, which does quite well because I've had this on just a little while ago when Dave was talking, and I could hear him, and I'm sitting down here in the hallway with the rest of the equipment around me, and no outside actually looking out. The only part I can look out from here is the door. So it works there, mind you. When Mark comes up, I don't have to have the aerial up at all really, because I can hear him as loud as can be. Even on the FT-9 there, 290 you got there, Mark, and your audio on that FT-290, let's put it this way, it's not perfectly BBC quality audio, but I know it's you, and you're as loud as can be, and you're not clipping it as far as I can hear when I'm listening to you on the handheld, so it seems to be okay in that respect. And even on the other radio, which got over at 706, it still sounds just the same, no problem at all there with that. So you're all right with that, unless it's because it's been on a little while, the audio sounds a little bit better than it did when you first put it on. I'm not sure, but anyway, it sounded right that time. Not perfect, but it's okay to understand exactly what you're saying. No problem at all there, Mark. What else was I going to add? Talking about winding up forms for anything like that. Now, well, I don't know whether this is any good or not, but I've been watching something on my iPad on occasion where they want to wind a coil up or a spring up or something like that. What they do is use their drill, or use a hand drill would be better, because you don't go around so fast. Put a drill in it, put a bit of wood on it, size of the actual formula that you want to wind on, and then put the wire on it, and then just turn the drill round, and it'll wind it on for you. Saves you doing it all by hand, which is, well, it's easy enough. It all depends what you want it for, but if you want to do it perfectly for a radio, you're going to have to probably do it the ordinary way, like you normally have to do to wind a coil, doing it manually, which is not easy. I know when I used to do when I did the digital SWR meter that many years beeps on it, but it still does what it's supposed to do. It does the SWR on your radio, and you can. I think if I remember rightly now, 'cause it's a long time since I used it. It's around somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it is at the moment. And you can I think it's mostly for HF, not certain at the moment. Not so easy on 2 metres. I don't think I need on 2 metres. I've got a 2 metre, what's the name here, somewhere, and that don't get used because with 2 metres with the diamond, as, as everybody calls it, the white stick, you don't really normally have to tune it in. It's already tuned in with quite a good one-to-one on it as well, so it's not so much of a problem on that. Right. Let me see, what else is there? You haven't done much radio this week, you say, Kieran? No, but I presume you'll be looking forward to seeing this Meals on the Wheels tapes, how they get around to actually setting it all up. Because in them days, I think in days that these 2 videotapes were taken, we didn't have the 10, which they've got now. But with the one that's going to go this year, we'll probably have the tent outside, which will be handy to the fact that I, and possibly Peter wants to go as well, we can't climb them bleeding stairs in the mill because they go round and round and you have to hang on to a rope to go up with them and get to the first floor. And carrying any equipment up there is not easy. And if it's done in the tent outside, which is where it would be, I'm sure that Peter and I will be able to do that without having to climb any stairs, which is just what I would need. And in the days of when we used to go down there, Kevin used to take me down there. That's M0KSJ used to take us down there to the windmill on the days that we had it. So that's what happened then. Right, okay, I think I've had enough. I'll pass it round to you now, Kieran, and hopefully I won't forget the DVDs. I won't forget your stuff either, Dave, either. I'll put it downstairs in the hall, so I won't forget it, because I'll probably fall over it or tread over it or something like that. I'll put it near the door so I don't forget it. Okay, Kieran, over to you. M8, no, M8, when we talk now, I'm getting bad as Dave now. G8, CHB from G0FTP.
G0FTP from G8CHB group. Yes, Frank, all of that. nice and strong memories you brought back of the mill, going up those little wooden steps holding onto the rope. Yes, I can remember that well. And the ghost stories about whoever it was that had killed themselves in there and all that business. It was a nice place. I'm looking forward to going back to the windmill again this year. And as you say, we'll look as if we're going to have the gala tent there, so it'll be fixed up outside rather than inside. Yeah, that was always a nice day. So it looks like as if it's going to be a nice effort this year as well. Looking forward to that. Right. Yeah. back to winding coils again. I mean, the wire is so thin, those toroids are so small. Sitting there in the corner, like my granny doing her knitting, and getting it through each time. And then halfway through, and something distracts you, and you've forgotten how many turns you've made. I think I'm a little impossible to count. At one stage I had to go back and start again. I'd got myself into such a mess. So yeah, I thought winding coils, those little things for 80 meters wasn't fun. As I say, doing it for 20 will be a lot easier, and I will get round to doing it. Good morning, Tony. Right. Just joined. I can't give you a report yet, Tony, but I will presumably when I pass on to you in a few moments. And Frank, I hope the hallway is warmed up by now. You mentioned, Dave, competitions. It sounds quite fun to me, but my problem is I'm no good at doing anything under pressure. So I just tend to fall apart and make a big mess of it and things like that. So I tend to keep a little bit clear of that because I can't hack it really. And Mark, that FT-2900R, the audio I find to hear. I mean, you're coming in as a 5 and 9 plus, yeah, and
actually, as is Dave NRH, but your audio is a lot stronger than Dave's is. So that's quite interesting. It's a very, very strong audio signal for the same amount of RF, as it were. And I detected a very slight hum on it. It looks like a 100 hertz hum. It sounded just very faintly in the background, but otherwise it's obviously perfectly clear, perfectly readable, and all that business. But yeah, that's all I can say about it. Yeah. So I give you that report for what it's worth. Right. Let's see, anything else I got here? No, nothing else here from me at this stage. So I'm passing it over to you, Tony. Take it from here. M0 SHG from G to CHB in the group.
Over to you, Tony. M0 CHG, Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. Strange. Maybe he's got his telephone's rung or something. So he might be busy. Was that old disc takeover from G8CHB Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel? Yeah, what was I going to say? We'll wait until Tony gets back. Yeah, it's been nice. Everyone's all lovely signals this morning. Cracking, even Mark. When you first bought the 290R, it's still a lovely signal. I mean, the 290R that I've got problems with the transmit receive, and so I know that Mark did offer a quick adjustment so I can recalibrate it slightly, which I will do, but there's no rush for it, to be perfectly honest, since I'm using this radio. And when it comes to sorting out those toroids, yeah, I found it okay. I mean, it's just like patience. That's the only problem. You've got to make sure you're in a darkened room, and you do it when there's nobody running around. You haven't got dogs leaking everywhere or whatever, and you can just get down and do it. I found that even now, I've still got the the digital SWR meter attached to the system here. I've got two digital meters. One is a commercial one, which I think is the DG 503, and the other one is one we made, which was really nice. I mean, it just had like TCs on a little box, so the idea is it acts as current transformers. So it picks up and it was HF, of course. We never did build a VHF one unit, which you don't really need, I suppose. I've now got some other bits and pieces for that. Yeah, and it comes to, well, before I start waffling on too much, yeah, the only thing is that the project, so I might be doing the tuner, manual tuner seems quite good, because that'd be great for portable work. But as for the little radio adapter thing for phones, I haven't got an Android. I've just got the iPhone, and of course it's not compatible, so I'll have to leave that until I sort something else out. I just thought we get a cheap Android phone and then see how to play with that. But at the moment, I'm not really that okay with it. We'll see how we go. Right. With that, I'll see if Tony's free and available. M0 Sierra Hotel Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. Are you there, mate? No joy. Well, I'll quickly pass it over to you, Mark, then. M0 JCF Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. Over to you, mate.
Yeah, G600H M0 JCF back with his regulation 2.5 watts out of these radios. All right, I'll answer in the questions from Dave, M7IPY. Yeah, the FT-2900R, what you're seeing there, the middle bit that you can't read is SIMP. and that's for simplex, and that's what I've got it set to. The minus and plus is for repeaters. I mean, 2 meter repeaters are normally minus, 70 centimeters is normally plus. So, you know, they've added minus 600 kilohertz and plus 600 kilohertz. So it's for repeaters. And of course, these old radios, they were tone burst. They weren't CTCSS, they were tone burst, which is what, 1750 hertz, so 1.75 kilohertz, as I recall off the top of my head. CTCSS boards can be fitted to this radio. I mean, you just have to insert them somewhere in the audio line, so that when you key up, it activates and sends the tone, momentarily to open up a repeater. I personally wouldn't bother with it. I don't access repeaters often enough to warrant the faff around. And these radios, the way they're constructed is there's lots of metal work, lots of plastic work. Then you've got the main board, which is incredibly tight and crowded, lots and lots of wiring. And then behind the front panel are 3 boards. One is the processor board, one is the memory backup board, I think, and it's got the memory backup battery in it. There's a fuse in there as well, and then there's another board. But the thing is these boards, like the backup battery, is just not accessible without dismantling a big pile of radio, and they're not the nicest radios. They're not for the faint of heart. I challenge anyone to, give it a go if you've got one and you want to get stuck in. Like, for instance, frequency alignment, that's very easy. The cover comes off. A little metal cover comes off the POL stage, or the oscillator stage, and then with a frequency counter and some small screwdrivers, you can set the frequency pretty much spot on in about like 10 minutes flat. It's not the end of the world. What else can I say about it? I think that's it. I think that's answered Dave's question. Yeah, that's just a simplex minus and plus. Of course, we've got no 2 meter repeaters that are on plus. And likewise, this has also got a lower sideband, and of course, lower sideband isn't typically used on VHF anyway. So they're just, like lots and lots of features. And I suppose back in the day, I knew several people that had these radios that they paid about 250 quid for in around about 1981, 82. And you imagine 250 quid back then, what's that in today's prices? 1,000 quid? I don't know. When I think of the wages I was earning, it would have been HP. There would have been, none of this buying it. But of course, back then as well, 2 meters was incredibly crowded. I may or may not have been a pirate, and I may or may not have used 2 meters, but even then I found like difficulty finding a spare channel. And likewise on SSB would be quite crowded as well. And of course the repeaters, well, the South London repeater down at Crystal Palace, I think most of us maybe who maybe listened and sometimes transmitted that weren't licensed, I think we probably didn't help it along. And of course the demise came, I don't know when they finally shut it down, but it was very much abused. The North London repeater, which I used just a year or so ago, I think that still uses tone burst, as I recall, and I was using the North London repeater. Interestingly, there's a new repeater, isn't there, on 70 centimeters. I think it replaces GB3LW, which was on the London Weekend Television building. That one, there's a replacement for that, which is in, I forget where it is now. I know Dave, M7IPY, I think you've accessed it, haven't you? A GB3LW, when I was first licensed as an M6 in 2017, it was fantastic. The coverage was awesome on it for a mobile device. I used to have like a handheld, a Baofeng in my car with a little aerial on the roof, and just driving between sort of Lewisham and where I live in Sidcup. I used to talk to all sorts of people. It was a very, very well used and very disciplined repeater. Same as GB3OY. Which is over on Buckhurst Hill, which is near Chigwell in Essex. Another fantastic coverage 70 centimetre repeater, which has got a lot of discipline on it. You know, I've never heard anyone being naughty or silly on it. Unlike GB3EL East London, great 2 metre coverage, but the Idiot Brigade are quite often on that one. But as I say, I don't tend to use them. And then something I picked up on Frank has said a couple of times, and I don't know if it's my ears, if it's intentional, or, you know, as a tongue-in-cheek joke, or he just got confused. But he's mentioned a couple of times Meals on Wheels, and I think he means meals on the air, doesn't he? Because he's talking about windmills. But that's that. We talked, didn't we, on Thursday? It was the meeting about what's happening throughout the year. It looks like the calendar is very nicely full up now. I'm actually doing 2 talks, both semi-practical, I suppose. The first talk, which will be at the beginning of March, is a follow-on from my amplifier construction and my oscillator construction. This will be about RF filters, in particular the low-pass filter. Now, I'm not sure it's a very good practical thing, because, you know, the low pass filters are going to be for specific bands and that, and I just haven't got, well, I have got that much equipment, but I'm not willing to bring along 4 million silver mica capacitors, 5,000 toroids, and 55 miles of various gauge wire, enameled wire. So I'll give a talk on it, and we'll come some sort of practical session where people can sit down with the soldering iron and build something. I'll come up with something to add to that. And the other one that I'm doing in July will be slow scan television for the impoverished ham. So, you know, you won't need computers, you don't need demodulators, modulators, etc. You won't need, you know, all of that. It will be how to use a mobile phone and whatever old equipment you've got to do slow scan television. Those that know me know I do a bit of SSTV, especially on 10 meters. I've been doing a lot of transatlantic SSTV. I think in the other direction, the furthest I've got is Reunion Island. Somebody answered my CQ call. With the mobile phone, it's a little bit clunky using apps, but it's a little bit clunky, but you know, it's very, very doable, you know, and you don't have to invest a lot of time. Of course, a lot of people are using their SDR type radios and CAT enabled radios connected to computers. The same sort of thing, but just a lot quicker, and I suppose a lot easier, you know. But yeah, that will be my other chat, and I'll give a little bit of history, you know, because I mean, they've been transmitting pictures over the wires and then radio since the 1800s. And can you believe that they've been sending pictures, I think before even the telephone was invented. Now that's quite incredible when you think about it, but I could have that a little bit wrong. But I know the first fax machine was a pantelegraph or something like that. It was a French invention. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. As I see now, we've passed the 11 o'clock and I've had a real good rabbit today. I've done the video as always. I'll stick it on YouTube, send you the link if you want to see it. The first 10 minutes, you'll hear this radio is very, very rough, and I alternate between that and the Yaesu FT-65. Other than that, I wish everyone very best 73. Have a great Sunday, and thanks for the input as well, Kieran and Frank and everyone else, Dave and Dave, on the audio quality of this radio. It is what it is, you know, it's old. It's going through obviously repair, transformation and restoration, and we'll get there. I did hear Tony as well. I would estimate he was about a 5 and 5 to a 5 and 7, but he was just as clear. You know, it was Radio 5, so I doubt whether he's hearing me, and that's probably why he dipped out He probably wasn't hearing me and I rabbited on too long. Round to you, Dave. 73, everyone. Round to you, Dave. M7IPY. This is M0JCF in the Cray Valley group.
Yeah, I'll just keep this one short because we're past the cup of coffee hour, which is 11 o'clock. SSTV, I'm really interested in this one, in receiving in particular. There's a couple of folk in the club that have used a combination, I think I've got this right, of the Quang Sheng handheld, which I am very happily having, and a mobile phone. I think there's an app, an Android app, I think, which you can use. I'm interested in doing that, just because it's something that you can do. So yeah, I'm interested in that. I'll keep this one short. I'm going to pass this round to our Frank, G0FDP from Mike 7 India. That's the end.
Yep, okay, Dave, yeah, from G0FDP. Sorry about the mistake in there, Mark, MW, not Meals on Wheels. It's Meals on, I'll get it right in a minute. It's GB2, I think, MW. Meals on Wheels. Oh no, still getting it wrong as well. There we are, silly me. Anyway, I know what it means anyway, and I'm sure that everybody knows what I'm talking about. Well, Mark sort of referred to me being silly and MW. No, it is MW, but it's not Meals on Wheels, unfortunately. There we are. Can't think of it at the moment. Mine's gone blank. Anyway, as it's gone 10 o'clock, what's the time actually now?
11 o'clock.
10, so I better pass it round now to Kieran. G8CHB, get that right, from G0FTP. Over to you, Kieran.
G0FTP, G8CHB. Frank, I know what it's like to have a senior moment. I've lots and lots of them, so that's it. Yeah, I want to say firstly, thank you to Dave for running the net this morning. That was good fun, good to listen to. Look forward to your talks, Mark, in the year to come. That should be quite exciting as well. So with that, I'll say hope everybody has a nice week ahead. All goes well for them, and they may even get a little bit of time on the radio, which would be good all round. So I'll say 73s to everybody and pass on. Hopefully, Tony, you're there. You were a 5 and 7, 5 and 8 when you called in. So hopefully you come back now, but if not, I'm sure Dave will take it. M0SHG G8CHB in the group.
Yeah, G8CHB Golf 6 November Romeo Hotel. It seems that old Tony is not making the trip, unfortunately. Well, I'll say it's been an interesting morning, and I thank everybody that's come up on this net. They've made it quite enjoyable. I do love a nice sort of, not rant, but I do love a nice sort of just chatting away, having a rat-chew and putting the world to rights, and it's been a fantastic morning. Should really get ready to have a bath or sort my life out and have some breakfast. Let me see how we go. I'll just thank everybody. I thank Mark, of course, Dave, Frank, Kieran and Tony, and that's it really. I don't really want to thank myself. But anyway, I'll say 7-3 to everybody. Hopefully catch you on Thursday week. If not, hopefully Friday for the Friday 4-meter net, those that can make it. And I'll say 7-3 to everybody. It's always been a pleasure. And thank you for joining me on this 2-meter net. This is Golf 6, November Romeo Hotel. Just standing by for any comment before I close the net down. Right, nothing heard. This is Golf 6, November Romeo Hotel, closing the net down at 11:07. Da-di-da, everybody.
Da-di-da, Dave, from G0FTP.
7 or 8, 7 IPY going out.